Okay, welcome. We're getting started in a second. All right. Welcome. If you're new, let me know what part of the country you're from. So we're going to go through a little content talking about remodeling and getting you known in your local area as one of the experts. All right, so here we go. They talk a lot about why experts don't chase, but they attract. And clients just don't always hire the most skilled contractor. They hire the one they feel the safest with, the one who shows up in their feed, it pops up in their inbox, the one that comes frame of mind, frame of reference, as the clear expert. That's who they want to hire, right? So somebody like a Dan Kennedy would say, if you're not seen as the expert, you're seen as a commodity, and that's why a lot of guys are getting price checked. Russell Brunson would say that people buy from people that they like and follow, the experts, right? People that so in remodeling, when they go to a website and they're like, I don't know, does this person look like they know what they're doing? That's what the homeowner's looking for. Authority is built when you speak to where someone is and lead them to where they want to go. All right, that's how I look at it. So how do you win the game of positioning? It's not by being louder. Hey, welcome. If you're new here, we're going to talk a little bit about marketing and helping you get some better leads with your advertising, building your story. Homeowners now, this is a good way to build credibility. So if you're new, let me know where you're from. You want to become the local remodeler who explains things better than anyone else. All right, and that's going to help you a lot. You don't need to be viral. You just need to be trusted within a certain mile radius. And when you start doing that, you don't get ghosted. People stop beating you up on the price. You stop being addicted to hope as a hopeomatic, and you actually filter for the good clients. So what does it mean to be a local expert? It means that you've built trust. People know that they can come to you and ask you questions. You've shown that you know the process, not just the product. You share the value before asking for the sale, and you name the problems that your ideal clients are already feeling. You talk to the homeowner. You know this has got to be frustrating. You don't want to go around and get all these bids. You don't want to waste your time getting all these miscellaneous free estimates. That's a waste of everybody's time. When you explain that to the homeowner, they're like, yeah, you're right. How do I pick a good remodeler without doing that? And that's when you lead in with how your company is different and better. So here's what the local experts that are dominating the market, they do differently. They don't say call us for a free quote. They say here's how to avoid these problems when you're doing your remodeling. They show the complete process. They talk about their process in clarity. They explain to the homeowner, we're going to take you from start to finish, and they lead the conversation. You don't need to act like an expert. You just show up like the leader. Like, this is what I do. Publish something, let everyone know, hey there, Jay, I'm good to see you. Hope all's well back home with the folks. Is your dad doing all right? Okay, good. Well, thankful that he's made it back and recovery. So glad he's doing well. That's awesome. All right. So tonight's going to be a little short one. Just talking about how you get seen in your local market as an expert. What we found is when homeowners start thinking that you're the expert, they stop questioning all the other miscellaneous nonsense. Like, they'll wait for you. If you're busy, they will feel more open to paying your price without wondering why it is what it is. They're like, well, he's the expert, so it must cost that. So there's a lot of things that can happen when your mind when in the homeowner's mind, you are now the expert in the neighborhood. Like, you should call Jay Allen because he's been doing this for like 20 years. He's the best, right? That's the reputation that you want. So, yes. All right. So that's where we're at. So one of the ways you can do this is consider writing some things every now and then about like some common problems. Maybe start a little blog on your website. Maybe try submitting an article to like your local community paper. Just call them up one day and say, hey, I'm a local plumber. We get a lot of homeowners that questions about water heaters, and here's a little guide for how the homeowner can learn how to determine whether they should go to a tankless or not, or whatever. Just some little article. And if you get a couple things published, people start saying, yes, we need to call that guy. He must be professional. So anyway, little tricks like that can go a long way. And most local newspapers are desperate looking for content. So if you provide it to them, and now with AI, you can become an expert writer. I mean, you understand, you tell it what you want, it'll put it in like good story article format, like a professional writer would. So now you can come across looking even smarter because you know the how to do it, and now you're able to explain to the homeowner why it's important. Anyway, consider if you do send an article to the local Times in your area, try to put it on your website as well, add it to your Facebook page, add a post to your Instagram account. If you do get featured and they put your article out, you'll want to let everyone know, hey, we have an article in the upcoming edition of the such and such Times or the Daily Chronicle, whatever it is in your neighborhood. So, and if you want to get into certain neighborhoods, if there's an area in your vicinity that you're like, man, there's some nice homeowners, some really nice housing developments in that community, see if they have a local paper or a local Facebook page that you can provide an article for, or a local, I don't know, some sort of organization that you can. So in my area, we have a homeowners group, not a homeowners association, but we pay to be part of a community association to help benefit the entire community. And you could easily get an article into one of their newsletters that would go out to like 300-400 homeowners in a very targeted and specific neighborhood. It's just another good way of getting your name out there. These are little things that don't really cost you any money. They just cost a little bit of time, but they can bring a lot of goodwill. And then over time, you can be the go-to for that organization. They might email you back and say, thanks so much for doing that article. Could you do another one for us in like 3 months? And you go, yeah, I might do one on water softeners, because maybe you want to start installing a bunch of water softeners, or whatever you want to do. You might do one about, I don't know, whatever it is, you know what I'm trying to say, whatever market you want to be in, whatever I don't know what else is a good thing for you, Jay Allen? What would you really hope a bunch of homeowners called you about? I'm thinking water heaters is probably a good business. Maybe the water softener install would be a good business. What other things are good service calls? If they're having a stopped drain, I'm sure you want to come in and snake all that out for them. Yeah, so maybe you could do an article where you're like, guys, you don't really want to pour liquid plumber down the drain. You actually want to contact a professional plumber who can run a snake down with a camera and do an inspection. And that way we don't cause any more damage first. We understand what the real problem. Anyway, you get the picture, right? So, and then there you go. Boom. Now you got like a couple articles you could put out, and you could send them to various people and add them to your social media and your website and all the good things. All right. And then what this does over time is it builds your authority, and it just lets the homeowner know, man, these guys must be pretty legit. Like, they've got articles out there. You know what I mean? And it can be you in like 6 months. No problem. This could be your business. Yes, you could do a thing on preventative maintenance. Now you're getting it. See, before you know it, you're going to probably have like 6 articles published next year. Anyway, I would encourage you to pursue it. Maybe your spouse can take some time and reach out to like some of the local community papers or whatever associations. you guys can come up with one article, include a nice little photo, maybe you in the van, or you with the van, whatever, and submit that and they can put a little, it's free publicity. You're not paying for this. It's great, in my opinion. All right. So you could possibly record a video if you like. Somebody could record a video. And let's see. You could even partner with another organization, maybe one of the big supply houses. Maybe you do a water softener campaign where you contact so this is interesting. A lot of these big companies, they have what's called co-op dollars. So when it comes to advertising, if you want, they'll help pay for advertising. So if there's a particular water softener brand that you think is professional and good to install and good for the consumer, you could contact them and say, hey, I think we should market in some neighborhoods about me being the expert go-to to install these water softeners. And then their marketing department will typically put the ad together, they'll put the postcard campaign together, and they'll mail it out, and it'll be that they should call your company to purchase the product, possibly, or they purchase it through your website, but they call your company to do the install. So, and that's called co-oping, and that's available through a lot of companies as well. So if there's a big supplier where you get all your plumbing supplies, ask to speak to one of the managers one day, or your sales rep. If you've gotten, once you've set up an account there and you have a sales rep, say, hey, how can I get some co-op going? I want to, do a little advertising this year. And pick something specific, something that's profitable, like good money, and is something you really want to be doing. So whatever that is for you. Consider working or teaming up with some realtors in the area. Meet a couple good realtors, let them know that you have a really good way about doing your plumbing service, and if they have some new homeowners that have just bought a house and need a plumber, that they should be calling you. Realtors want to work with reputable companies who respond quickly and give a good experience. That way the realtor can act like and feel good that they're like all professional and they know everything. And realtors are always looking for top-notch tradespeople in specific niches in specific areas for all the new turnover that's constantly happening. Yeah, you get it. So, and the big thing about these articles is you lead with your education, right? Here's how homeowners can benefit from. Here's how we help, this is homeowners, here's how you can solve this problem. Yeah, I don't, late night, I'm not a Rhode Island guy. You might be in the wrong place. We talk about remodeling here. All right. You can also explain, obviously, like a way to frame an article is to say, most homeowners miss this step when trying to do this, right? And then pay for it later. The top 3 things that you should ask any plumber before you have a service call done. And, those would be things, obviously, like, are they licensed, bonded, whatever that you are that helps separate you from other people. Those are the 3 things that you would list. That way, when they're doing their due diligence, they're like, yeah, this company meets all the criteria. Jayon, you could even come up with your own specific name for the way that you do a certain process that you like the way that you go about installing water heaters. You could call it like Horseshoes Plumbing's, 5-star 10-step method for installing. Nobody else has this. It's the same thing that most people do in the industry, but because you've named it something, you're the only company that has it, and that could be one of your articles. These are the 5 steps that you want to go through before you do such and such. Or if you are getting a water heater installed, make sure that whoever's doing it does these things. Boom, 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 boom. So, and it's all basic stuff. See if you have adequate supply line coming in. Make sure that that you have a adequate. You guys probably have to install drip pans because I'm assuming you put a lot on slabs, and so there's probably, or maybe they have to be installed 2 to 3 feet in the air. Is the ventilation proper? If it's gas, are they making sure that not only is the electric wire properly sized, but is somebody double checking that the breaker is the appropriate size as well? All these types of things. The standoffs, right, on the top of a traditional water heater, I think they have to be a certain height, don't they, from where the shutoff valve is, and any branching out. I don't know. And expansion tanks in my area are important. They might not be in your area. I think we've talked about they don't have to have them down there. So yes, the exhaust, right, especially if it's a gas heater, the way that that vent sits on there is very crucial. Plus making sure it goes out to the chimney, the flue, the exterior, however that's being vented. And these high efficiency water heaters, if they're being put in an old home, you can educate them how sometimes that may require having to have a flue liner. I don't know. Little things that can come up that the average person just wouldn't even understand because of all the moisture, right? The high efficiency gas products. I don't know if it's so much from water heaters. I definitely know what happens with furnaces nowadays, right? Aren't you guys? I think they're all venting them direct vent outside, trying to not put them up any old chimneys because of all the moisture. All right. So these are little things to think about. Like, what if you didn't have to fight for attention in the future because your videos, your articles just were setting you up to where the homeowner goes, we have to call this company. They Google, I need a plumber in 212-387, whatever the zip code is where you are. Boom, 5 plumbers come up. And then all of a sudden, this one has articles associated with it. And they start reading, they go, man, these guys are experts. That's what ends up happening because we already know that the homeowner, typically before they call somebody that they don't know, they're doing some sort of research, usually just to get a sense if that's a company that they want to talk to. So you can provide checklists for homeowner on your website. Like here's a checklist for how to understand how to do the following, and then they can download that, and then they can go around their house. Do you guys have to get into disconnecting water hose, outdoor water spigots, and having frost-free hose bibs down there? Does it get, like here, I've already had to go around to the house, disconnect the garden hoses, turn the valve on the inside, the shutoff valve, go outside, open up the valve, let any air, pressure, water out, because otherwise they'll freeze. We're already experiencing freezing temperatures. Okay, so that's not something you'd have to do down there, but I'm sure there's something people have to do, maybe some sort of a maintenance issue that you could come up with. Or some sort of a checklist. Okay, you do it at your house. Yep. See, you're smart. Yeah, it's worth it. Because once that copper pipe or plastic, it's a nightmare as soon as it freezes and cracks. All right. Real quick, the AI prompt could look like this. You just tell it to act as a marketing strategist for your company, and that all hoses are on a separate line. Okay, good for you. Yeah, so we'll just that's probably smart. I don't have that. My house is a little bit older. Now it's not the original plumbing from the 1900 whatever, but the line that goes to the kitchen has a T on it, and that runs out to one spigot out back, and we have another spigot out front that runs off of a bathroom line. So good for you that you have your own separate lines. We don't have that. You'll want to position yourself as the local expert in your area, and you'll say, give me 3 educational type post ideas that I could put on Google or Facebook. Again, base it off of your criteria, what you think is important. You'll have it write you a little script, and then possibly if you want to add a little video, something like 30 seconds, you could do that. You could have it create the checklist for you. And you could ask it if it has any ideas for who you could collaborate with locally. And then you ask it to help write what's called a positioning sentence that you can use in every video. And that's what you would, it's kind of like your thing that defines what makes you different. It's like your tagline that you put into a lot of your videos. You notice a lot of companies that advertise a lot, they sort of have like this little tagline, like da, 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 and it's something so that people, it's like a catchy little thing that people will always remember. Whatever. You can ask AI to help you come up with it if you haven't come up with your own already. All right. So that's everything for tonight. Any questions from anybody? Hey there. We got Goat in the house tonight. Welcome. Yeah, good to see you. My man, awesome. Yeah, that's good for you. I'm glad. I've had a long one myself, so tonight's going to be a little short. I think tomorrow I'm attending so there's a big group of restoration companies in my area, and they're holding a conference tomorrow down at the Maryland Live Casino. Now, Justin, you probably want to go to that. But anyway, they're going to have a bunch of speakers, some round tables, I guess. So I think I'm going to go. Yeah, so we did that. Today's been a busy day. Yeah, so I'll try to put up a little content. We had some pretty good turnout. We had some people tonight that we talked about. And yes, sir, that's right. We're going to have another one in approximately 1 month. So we'll see if I think we're going to try to bring in a gentleman that helps with some Google work. He'll help you get your Google page dialed in so that you come up on. So anyway, what I think we're going to offer on this next meeting, again, there'll be a little presentation, but if you show up to the event, you'll get a free analysis of what your web presence is currently. This guy will go in, he'll look at what you have going on, and they'll give you a couple suggestions. You can do them yourself, or you can talk with him and hire him to help you get, Google, your Google search results dialed in. So cool. Yeah. So there's always something out there, and then I think we might have one of the other future meetings might have a workshop where they're talking about showing guys. I don't know if you've ever installed frameless cabinets in a kitchen, but apparently there's a lot of guys that aren't certain how to install them properly. So we might put on a little workshop for something like that. Cool. Yeah. I mean, nowadays, man, there's just, it's gotten to the point where some stuff it's good to just hire someone sometimes to help you do a couple of the little things just to get your feet on the ground, basically. Like if you just have a basic web page, somebody should probably do an analysis for you and see about how they can help you with your SEO a little bit, get you some keyword search rankings, right? I'm not saying you have to spend a bunch of money, but you might just hire somebody to help do just a little bit. And the same with like this Google search. What this guy can do is he can do basically he just types in your service for the areas that you say you want to work in, and he'll show you exactly what comes up on Google, and then he'll give you a strategy for how you could start coming up in a different position than you are possibly now. If you're coming up first, he'll give you some strategy on how you stay coming up first, to see what your closest competitor's doing. Anyway, things like that. So it's kind of cool. Yeah, it is. I mean, In some respects, business has gotten a little more complicated from a marketing standpoint because, I mean, years ago, you just had to put an ad in the yellow pages, or you just needed a basic web page, But now it really just depends on your goal, right? If you just want to have someone, if you just have a web page, as long as someone types your address in properly, they'll find you. But if you're trying to bring in more business, you want to come up higher in the searches. Okay. Yep. So I still think Google is going to be good for a while. I think that people are also the younger generation. I think like 5 to 10 years from now, I don't know what will happen if Google's still going to be what Google is today, or if it's all going to be like a Chat GPT world where people. I mean, Google might lose the race. I mean, it's been the dominant player for a long time, but Chat GPT is growing like gangbusters. Nothing's ever grown as fast as the amount of people that are using ChatGPT every day. It's phenomenal. It's the article I was just reading. Think about this. It took 5 years for like a billion people to get on personal computers or something. It took like a couple years for Google. It's taken like a couple months for ChatGPT. I'll have to show you the article at some point. But how fast the adoption rate is for people to using ChatGPT is just no one's ever seen anything like it ever. Yeah, like Ask Jeeves. Yeah, it really has. So people are just, especially your younger kids. Now, granted, see here's the rub, right? A lot of the younger kids don't have houses today, but in the next few years, they're going to be the ones having the house. So it's like a lot of things. You definitely want to get a jump start on a lot of this stuff if you plan to still, be doing your thing in the next few years. It just gets easier if you build the foundation now. But yeah, organic Google search is definitely a good thing. Yeah, just keep getting your reviews like you're doing, Justin. That's awesome. Makes life a whole lot easier when people are just searching randomly online and then call you up. And then imagine what happens when you start sprinkling in a little bit of an advertising campaign. I mean, you can start charging a little bit more. Things can really start to shift. Instead of doing like 3 jobs a week, now you can have a guy helping you. You could be doing 6 jobs a week, right? Making the same amount of profit on each job. Now you start to look at seeing double the income, if that's your goal. That's what. So, but so hopefully, yeah, hopefully. I mean, that's where your salesmanship comes in, and hopefully you can, when you're talking with them over the phone and you get their timeline and their time frame, you do what you can to help them want to wait for you, for sure. Sometimes people do, sometimes people don't. I just got it was funny the other day. So I have, when I talk about these referral systems, I share that because like it works. So I'll give you an example. I have a lady that I did some work for. I mean, it's been years. She still sends me, I get referrals I got 2 last week from this lady, and it's been years, like since I've ever done any work for her. But she's like one of those clients I talk to, like it's our biggest fan. And it's, all that kind of stuff pays off. It's amazing when you, but anyway, where it was interesting was this lady called me at 9 in the morning, and she wanted us to get somebody out to her house before 2 o'clock. She had the kitchen, the way the kitchen was built, they framed in around her refrigerator really tight, like a custom built in, and she could not get the fridge out because it was so tight it was rubbing up against the sides. So anyway, she thought she had like a dead mouse or something behind the fridge, and now the house stinks, and she's so frantic. So, we send somebody over to help remove that refrigerator unit out of that wall, but that's, like an emergency service call. And, you have to sometimes shift people around to make all that happen. But those customers, when you can meet them on their time frame, it can be really powerful. So repeat customers, I would definitely give them like some sort of a little bit of a break on their price, or I would give them the gift basket idea. I would give them a gift card to go to the spa for the day, not for a massage, whatever they like to do. If there's like a local place that you can rent kayaks or go fishing for in my area, we have like an area where you can rent an electric boat, take it out and go fishing for a couple hours. I would provide a gift card or an experience like that, the restaurant experience. Yes, exactly. Like what I find, to be honest with you, most people, the money is nice, but whatever. Then they just feel like you're kind of overcharging them. I don't know. That's been my experience. But when you say, we really value you, like this is the third project you've hired us for, and you say, what we've done is we have this little thing, we have this arrangement with whatever you think would benefit that homeowner. So obviously if it's a woman and she looks like she likes going to the spa or getting her nails done, whatever, provide her an experience, say, hey, it's taken care of. You're just going to make the appointment. We're paying for it. It's all taken care of. I would offer stuff like that. If you have a really nice restaurant in the area, even if it's just lunch, it doesn't have to be a lot. It could be 15, 25 bucks, it could be 50, it could be 100. It depends on how much they're spending with you. Like how big are these jobs, right? If they've hired you for the third $50,000 remodel, I would give them a nice package. But if these have been like $1,000 projects, a lunch, a dinner, I think that's reasonable. Exactly, a new car. You get a car. You get a car. Everybody gets a car. Yeah, yeah. If you have a really good like diner in your area, or like a good, you know, uh, we've got some like really good breakfast joints around us. I don't know. So like literally in my bag right now, I have like several little gift cards already set up for various places that I think are kind of cool. Like I could just hand out somebody a gift card like that. And you should get a couple thank you cards. And literally while you're out in your truck, you take a break, you could write a nice handwritten note, put it on a thank you card, take the gift card that you've already purchased, and because you carry a couple of them around with you, just a few, you might have 5 in your bag of a couple different places. And then boom, you just, as soon as you wrap up the job with the invoice, you hand them the thank you card, in an envelope with their name and the gift cards in there. This is how you make it so easy. It's timely. And the homeowner's like, he's giving me a gift card. I haven't even paid for the service yet. It just presents a whole different experience for that homeowner. And they start thinking about your business like, you guys are awesome. Waffle. I mean, hey, so Waffle Houses can be a little rough and rowdy, but yeah, I mean, if that's the personality of the homeowner, you know what I'm saying? If you're like, dude, I find that the best way to explain it is personalize the gift. You know what your customers are like. Like you start to get a sense for what would they really enjoy. So yeah, Like if you have like a nightclub in your area and whatever, you could get them some sort of a gift card so they can get out. I don't know what laws are in your area, how you can do things, but like if there's a good show in town that you think somebody would really like to go to because you're in that Vegas area, you just get creative, provide somebody. But people remember experiences. Yeah, table service, smothered card. So, and again, you start small, but to be shocked, like gratitude goes a long way. And when you're thankful and appreciative and you show that and provide that to people and it's coming from here, right? Like think about it, like you get to live an amazing life because you have these amazing clients that pay you money to do things that you like to do. So that you like, so when you're grateful for that and thankful and they can sense that, um, it means a lot to people. At least good people. I'm sure you're going to come across some people every now and then that are just jerks, but for the most part, I mean, when I look back, like 98% of the people I've ever worked for have been awesome. I've only had like just a couple people that were just terrible people to work for. And, you know, yeah. Yeah. If you have a homeowner that like is treats you really well, you, you still charge them the full price, but maybe you just give them a little something small, like a little gift card for a cup of coffee. Say thank you, but put it in with a handwritten. Go buy a blend. You can buy a thank you card, but what really adds to it is you putting a little note saying like, "Hey, Miss Joanne, having clients like you makes my job very fulfilling. It's such a pleasure to work for an amazing homeowner like yourself. Thank you so much for hiring us. You know, your contractor friend, Justin." You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think you can. Yeah, Amazon now. Yeah, I would totally. That's a really good idea, Justin. Yeah, yeah. If you have a lot of people that like golf, yeah, 100%. That's an awesome idea. I got to work for a Caterpillar dealership for a few years early on in my life, and I learned firsthand. So Caterpillar treats their customers really nice. Caterpillar is a premier brand, right? It's a luxury brand. Like it's one of the most expensive earth moving pieces of equipment typically. All the other companies undercut it. But Caterpillar, part of that luxury service is they really treat their clients, contractors, really nice. They get like Justin, what you're saying, like golf balls. They'll get a nice little golf towel, the little towel that people hang from their bag. You could get your logo embroidered in like a bunch of those and hand those to clients. I mean, whatever. Um, but at Caterpillar, that was always something you did. Was every time you had an interaction with a good customer, you tried to bring them something. You know, uh, you bring them a nice hat, a coffee mug, some sort of a thing, a promotional gift. But you always were thinking of them and bringing them something. Yeah, I mean people. But Caterpillar people get the thing tattooed on their body, right? They call it an aspirational brand. It's insane. It's so powerful. But they've really learned how to take good care of their customers because nowadays it's a very competitive marketplace. Caterpillar is having a little trouble. Their sales are down a little bit because so many cheap competitors are coming in. Now the products that the other companies sell are junk, And typically anyone who's going to be in business for a long time recognizes that it's much better to get a Caterpillar backhoe skid steer than like the um, some of the other brands, right? So yeah, thanks, Rob. Okay, yeah, your buddy. Okay, only cat. Yeah, and it's interesting. When I was there, you see a lot in the industry, and I get it. Like some people don't care. What Caterpillar has that no other company has is they have a support network. Like when you buy a machine from Caterpillar, they store your serial number. So if that machine ever gets stolen, nobody else will ever be able to buy parts for it legally, because the way Caterpillar works is when you go into a genuine Caterpillar store to get parts, you have to provide a serial number, and they can search it in their database right away. And if it comes up stolen, they won't sell you the parts. Now, I'm not saying that people can't go buy them illegally, knockoff third party, but you're not getting a machine. If somebody steals your machine, they're not getting it serviced. They're not getting parts for it at any Caterpillar anywhere in the world. So like the company does some really nice things to help protect its clients, customers. He wrapped his snow over it. Yeah. So cool thing. But and Caterpillar really focuses on the product. They try to, for the most part. Now some of their stuff is branded, meaning they get someone else to make it and they just put the cat logo on it. But most of their equipment that I'm referring to, like it's engineered, it's designed, and it's built by Caterpillar employees, and it's it's built to last, right? Built to it's an investment because something you're going to get back. You need it running all the time for your business to make money. A lot of guys will buy a cheap machine that's breaking down a lot, and so now it's not making you money. Okay, very cool. Yeah. So anyway, mhm. But you get the concept, right? You want your brand to be like the premier brand in your neighborhood, in your area. You want everybody thinking like we want to hire GOAT 702 greatest of all times or Horseshoe Plumbing. These are the premier brands in the area. They provide the best service. Okay, awesome. What kind of equipment were you running, Jay? What the this will I we could probably have some good conversations about machinery on another call for sure. So you were probably running what, excavators and skid steers? I don't know. Or were you like doing land clearing? You running dozers? What was happening? Okay, very cool. Yeah, I mean, all right. It's I mean, running that machinery, especially if you start getting into the big stuff, it's a interesting feeling when you can just start. So Caterpillar jokes that they move the earth. That's one of their logos. But I mean, some of their machinery is just so powerful, right? I mean, you just drive right through a house. A D, you get a nice D11. They do exactly. You had that crazy guy. What did was it? I think it was a D9, D11. He welded up all the plates and then went and drove through the town. The D stuff. I mean, stuff's crazy. All right. Well, D6 is still powerful, man. I mean, probably I don't know what it costs today, but I'm sure it's like a $200,000 piece of machinery. The high track, okay, nice. So that's the one that had the sprocket, right? Went up and come down. Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're It's a fun business being in there. Go get them, goat. Have fun. All right. Yeah, you like the Komatsus? Yeah, so that's Caterpillar's number one competitor. They've pretty much stolen everything they could, copied it, and they probably make they're the one that has. So Caterpillar has the largest share in the market, but Komatsu's right behind them for sure. Yeah, yeah. See you, goat. Have a good night, brother. Keep killing it. But yeah, no, Komatsu. Yeah, they make a decent machine for sure. And they, what Caterpillar experienced, and we're going to start seeing this in our industry, is that you're seeing it in the tool world too. Like for years, Milwaukee, came out with some of the best tools, but nowadays it's so easy for another company to take that tool apart, scan it, and then reproduce it with similar quality and tolerances. You know what I mean? And that's what happened to Caterpillar. These other companies, for a long time, nobody could compete with them. But over time, as technology, so it happens to everybody. Your competitors can start seeing what you're doing and copy you pretty quick. And then the only thing they can really beat you on typically is price. So at that point, so yeah, it was funny where I worked. We had John Deere right behind us, right next door behind us, basically. So, and you have people that pick a brand and they go with it. For one, it's kind of like Ford, Chevy, and Dodge. You know, so very cool. All right, well, listen, Jan, we'll talk about moving dirt another night for sure. I want to hear more about some of the other equipment you were running, and but that's really cool that you have that experience. Yeah, I mean, in your business, if you have a small backhoe, you know, just a tiny one that you can tow behind one of your vehicles. When you're doing all your sewer work, I mean, how much? I know you like to still dig those those trenches by hand, but a nice little mini X, and you could, it would pay for itself, I'm sure, if that's the kind of work you wanted to get into. And down where you are, you don't need an enclosed cab. You can just get the basic open ROPS and roll. Yeah, so very cool. All right. Well, you guys have a great night. Thanks for chatting. Glad to hear that your dad's back and doing well. So gets to live to fight another day. That's awesome. All right. Take care. Yeah. Take care.